Welcome back to another episode of Whitaker Writings, and today we asked Twitter what they thought about killing characters. Let's find out what they had to say. Before we get started, if you are not an active member of the Twitter writing community, you're missing out on a lot of very supportive people. You should check us out. Search #writing community, post a tweet letting us know who you are, what your current work in progress is, and watch the amazing support the writing community is going to offer you. All right, so moving on with today's topic. In my current work in progress, I was writing the final battle of the story, the last couple chapters, and in the final battle, I was faced with a very hard dilemma. One of the characters that I had plans for later on in the book was in a situation where they should die. To write myself out of that situation felt like a cop-out, because one of the things that I hate the most as a reader is when a scene dictates that a character should die, but nobody does. Not every story requires a character's death. That's going to depend on the style of your story, based on the genre and things of that such. However, in a story that involves things like battle or an antagonist who is very murderous or maniacal, you can expect people to die. And if all of your characters are invulnerable to death, it starts to feel like there's a Superman complex with the characters. And that can make the reader a little hesitant to get as emotionally involved when a character is faced with a life or death situation. But a lot of this was my personal feelings. And I wanted to know, what did the writing community think about this specific topic? Was it something that they were with me on? How did my peers feel about killing off one of their characters, especially if it wasn't planned? So I asked. I posted the question on Twitter. So I just killed off a character I had not intended to. It was in the moment and I realized they had to die for my character to get where they needed mentally. Would you sacrifice a loved character to provide the spark that your main character needs? And the responses were amazing. Over 150 people commented on the post, giving their opinions, recommendations, even voicing their concerns for things like fridging, which we'll get to a little bit later. Now, it's hard to take any one person's opinion as a solid go-to advice, especially when everybody's story is going to be slightly different. Nobody can write your story in your specific situation. So it's really up to you as the writer to determine, just, does it feel right? Should the character live or should the character die? What do you want to accomplish with your story? And what's the message you want to deliver? If you're trying to inspire hope in your reader, then you may not want to let somebody die. If you want to go for that shock and awe factor, then yes, maybe killing him is the way to go. But only you as the writer can truly determine what your story needs to be successful. But I did want to see what people had to say. Before we get into reading everyone's responses, I would like to thank everyone who commented on the Twitter post, especially to those who gave advice for writers who may be facing a dilemma in this situation. And even more so to the people who posted the concerns they had with this specific topic. And if you look in the comments below, you'll see the names of every person that we used in the video today. A lot of them are very active members of the writing community, and I would urge you to follow them if you haven't already. So wasting no more time, let's get into it. A majority of the people who said that they would kill a character also said that they would feel incredibly remorseful about it. A Drop of Crimson says, I have, yes, and it's freaking heartbreaking. Sometimes I forget for a second that the character is dead, and it's like he's dying all over again when I remember. At Alleyman5 says, yes, I still get tears when I edit the scene. Not so much because of the death, but because of the pain I know my main character is going to go through. And at Lauren K. Nixon 1 says, I say yes, but when it came to the last time, I couldn't even kill the parrot. Now, not everybody felt as remorseful about killing off their characters. Some of them were absolutely thrilled about it. At Mina Lestrange said, well, I go into a story assuming I'm going to kill everyone, including the main character, and I am more shocked when I allow people to live. At Hillbilly Horror says, character, I'd sacrifice my relatives for a cup of coffee most days. Can't say I disagree. At Isabel Key says, of course, that's why they exist. You're here to die, mother. I can't say that, can I? At DL Gold, there's nothing I love more than making readers fall in love with a character than tragically murdering him or her. Am I a little sick? Yes. Yes, you are. Very sick. And at Jim Kiernan, Jim Kiernan 4. I kill off characters often. I laugh maniacally while I do it. At Steve Bardale says, kill them all of them, I say. You have issues, my friend. And at Nagin Papin, I'm probably butchering this name, says, absolutely, I love killing off characters, to be honest. Like really important ones. Makes for a very emotionally charged moment. I'm weird. I think George R.R. Martin would probably agree with you there. Some commenters offered great advice. At Ann Coley 1 says, I never kill a character unless it is vital to the plot. I may need them for a sequel. Good characters are hard to create, so I try to hang on to them for as long as possible. At Norm the Writer says, yes, I did it in my previous novel. Really didn't want to either. Sometimes the story demands its sacrifices. Sometimes we have a plan for our story, but the story proves to us that it's in control. At Watch Comics says, oh yes, in a heartbeat. If you did not have it planned, your readers will not expect it. I love when stories make me go, WTF. Wow. At Author CRPU says, I'm having a real dilemma with my characters at the moment. I don't feel like realistically everyone will make it out alive, but I don't want to kill somebody off without good reason. You know, it's going to be tough. She makes a very valid point, and we're going to get to that a little bit later. At Writing in VA says, no, I do my best to give each minor character their own agency and story within the overarching plot. The only time I've unexpectedly killed off a character was when his story was done. He had nothing left to be, and I just hadn't realized it yet. At Chris Metcalf says, I really don't think we have a choice. I think the story takes us where it wants to. We just write what they do in our head. And author AJ Douglas says, yes and no. All of my important character deaths happen for a reason. I'm not a fan of wanton character death because I found as a reader that it just desensitizes me to it and I stop caring who lives and who dies. But I never do it spur of the moment. They are all planned. At Arendelle Darling says, as long as it serves the story and isn't just for women in refrigerator style shock value, which happens all too often when a female character is offed just to affect a male and lacks her own agency. Now, it seems the biggest concern in the writing community for killing a character off has to do with the term fridging. At Drew Milborn says, are you familiar with the concept of fridging? That would be my main concern. At Amelia R. Miller says, well, no, that's fridging. But I do it if it made sense for them to die. If the plot couldn't move forward unless I did, to make a thematical point, just not to motivate the main character. And at LP Ring says, yes, I have. It's a concern though. I spent a lot of time thinking about whether or not I was fridging a character. Fridging is a term used when a supporting character is only used for the purpose of pushing the main character along their path. It's more commonly used in the comic world where female supporting characters are often killed off as the motivating factor for the hero to go on his quest. And it's definitely something that you should have in the back of your mind whenever you decide that a character should die. Is the only reason this character exists in the story to spur another character along a certain path. Death is a big deal. It causes change. So it's very hard to say that a death isn't fridging. But on the opposite end of that, not killing a character when they should die can sometimes feel just as cheap. Now again, you as the writer are the only person who's going to be able to make that decision, and not everybody's going to agree 100% with what you choose. But it is something you should consider when writing your story. Another big factor in deciding whether a character should live or die has to do with knowing the type of story you want to tell. If your story is designed to uplift the reader, then maybe having people die every 5 minutes isn't a smart thing to do. You're going to kind of get them a little depressed. However, if your story is telling battle and war, then it's not practical for every character to survive. People are going to die. Now, something that I didn't see in the comments, which I'm very surprised I did not see, was using death as a way to solve a conflict that you've set up. One of the most common ways you see this is in the standard love triangle. A girl or a guy has to choose between two lovers and they go back and forth throughout the entire series, and then suddenly at the end, her choice is made for her because one of them sacrifices themselves. This is all too common. Now, whatever choice you make when it comes to character's death in your story, just make sure that it has a purpose and it should make sense. And please, 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 under no circumstances, bring the Dragon Balls into your story. Do not kill characters off just to have them all brought back over and over and over again, unless it's something specific to the plot of your story. Now, I hope this video helped you in some way. If you liked a comment made by a particular member of the writing community, make sure that you go to their Twitter channel and let them know that you appreciate their advice, and support them by following. Feel free to leave your own opinions about killing off characters in the comments below. Is it something that you like in the story, or is it something that makes you put the book down? Now, if you enjoy this video, make sure to hit the like button below so I know to make more content just like this. And all the links to my other social media platforms are in the comments below. Until next week, drink a lot of coffee, write a lot of words.